enhancement for RDCs. Is it part of, because I've seen that there is some bit of improvement on the proposed budget allocations. RDCs now considered for that enhancement, because they are doing a great job down there, although some of them tend to be partisan sometimes and taking sides. But me, I decided to, when I came out of that election, having observed what was happening, but since by the grace of the heavens I won, I decided to pay those who somehow didn't support me with the highest currency called love. So that's why I don't want much, but maybe they should be, the issue is they should maybe transfer some of them. It helps, because it's not good to keep looking at some of them when you know this person really. So I think when, Madam, you need to just transfer them also, reshuffle, at least for people to forget, and a bit far from the regions where they were operating, because some of them really scratched other people. Although they tended to pretend and and sometimes calls would come from Kampala to them. So you sympathize with them, because if a higher person calls you, you really have nothing to do. But again, if there's overwhelming support, their hands also get tied. They say, the man has won, what can we do? So, but let's enhance their salaries. Maybe that also will help them from other people's influence. But maybe when you're indoctrinating them, they should really get to know the interests of the state. And by the state, we are talking about the president, number one. Any other person under that, below the president, should not influence them. Because some of them come and use the name of the president, and yet they have their own interests, selfish interests. So they should really, if they need clarification, maybe they would rather seek clarification from the intelligence. They can clarify on them. Because at least I saw intelligence was a bit neutral. So that's my comment. But they should enhance their salaries. Have they been considered?
They must have been really injured by their RDCs. So I think you also have to think about it, because during campaigns or during the political season, they do a good work, but sometimes they can really leave a bad injury. I was looking at you.
Also, Honourable Minister, we need to have, I know they are there, capacity building for RDCs, assistant RDCs, and deputy RDCs. But we need to embark more, because we are aware, by appointment, anybody can be appointed. By the way, if you know government, even if you never went for P1, you can be an RDC. So long as you have the capacity. Even politicians can be appointed to be an RDC. They are there. They are there. But if their capacities are built, I think something better can come out. Because now if I'm an RDC and I tell you in a very big meeting like this, I'm brought here on a mission. Now what is that mission you are brought for? How about if you have achieved the mission, what will you be doing in your office? Did we ask all these questions?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Mamawi. Let's finalize Honorable again.
No, thanks, Madam Chair. Thank you.
So many entities coming up.
Okay, thank you. So that's I'm part of the victim that has been affected in the recent election. On a very serious note, actually, I should have retained my position as the members of Parliament. But because of the involvement of the RDC in dubious things, bribery and the rest of other things, using security, they were able to rob me home. And yet, we appreciate their works, the works that they have been doing. So, as a ministry, you need to look into consideration how You have to follow up these people, consistent meeting, and then you also do a spot check from the community. Get in the community, gather a sample of numbers of people from there, find out the work these people are doing. And I think perhaps we'll be able to get lots of information that will help you either in building the capacity of the RDC or strengthen the works that they're doing in the community. And then I think we shall do our best. Yeah, so that is my plea. Transfer. If they can be transferred, I think that would be very, very good, because they have to have that experience with different environments for them to be able to work effectively. Because sometimes you appoint people from the same locality and they get used and familiar with the people in the area, and their works will not be effective. But if you transfer them to a new part of the locations, I think they will be able to play their roles very effectively. And I think that will be very, very useful for us. So that is my plea to you as a ministry, but so far we are very grateful for what you only need to strengthen the monitoring parts through the RDC for effective implementation of the program of the government. I thank you.
Yeah, finally.
Definitely. There are this, my minister also out there. RDCs, of course, at this point in time, we don't want much to transfer them now, the time which we are in now. We are waiting for the formation of the new government, and then we handle this work after the formation of the new government. But however, where we see a very big problem right now, if there's any big problem with an RDC as an individual, we don't keep quiet, we take action immediately. That one, we take action, we don't keep quiet. So, but as the chair said, some of them, they create problems as individuals, but not as institutions. As individuals, and those one, when we detect them, and once we get a report from the field, from any other person, not only from honorable members of parliament, even for the general public, we take action. We don't keep quiet. We summon him or her, she makes a statement, and then we summon the complainant also, and eventually we solve the problems at the headquarters. Coordination. There is a lot of coordination with these RDCs. We have a whole office of coordination, that is the RDC Secretariat. It's headed by a lady who is here. It's called Major Massa Asimwe. She's the one in charge of coordinating all these RDCs in terms of monitoring their discipline. How are they? If they themselves are corrupt, she's supposed to take charge of that. Land issues which they're handling, how are they performing it? How are they coordinating government projects and programs? She has a very big office, and she has regional officers. In West Nile, we have one. In Northern Uganda, we have one. In Western Uganda, we have one. In the Buganda region, we have one. In Busoga, we have one. In Koromojo, we have one. So everywhere, the coordination offices are there. And we have what we call even chief whips and deans of these areas. So in terms of coordination, we think that if an RDC misbehaves, some of them issues are done at the regional level. So there is no problem with coordination, but my brother said that Central RDC is transferable. Yes, they are transferable. Much as some of them were appointed from the very region, but if we find that he is no longer useful in that region, he is no longer useful, we take him to another place where he can be useful. So that one, there's no problem with it.
Procedure, Chair. But can you talk about the budget for regional offices? You said the regional office, do they have budget?
You know,
and maybe the regional commissioners, do they have sufficient budget to do monitoring?
The issue of the budget, yes, we have that. It has a budget. That budget is configured in such a way that these offices which are being created, they are supposed to be facilitated. How are they going to work? They are facilitated every month. They have new vehicles. They have offices. So the issue of what we can say that is it enough? That is the question. Maybe I would think that is that money enough? It may not be enough because there has never been enough money. But at least I'm sure they have something to start with. I don't think that there's a regional commission who can say that I don't have transport, I don't have money for fuel. They get monthly funds for fuel and for allowances. That one, and that one they have. But it may not be enough. That one I may argue that it's not enough, and we shall never have enough anyway. That's what I can say about that thing. Now, on the issue by this gentleman, all those questions which came will be handled by of this committee's premise. We are constructing one office every financial year, and on average, it takes about 700 million shillings to have that office. That office, like Honorable Mama said, that we accommodate the office of the DSO, it is there, and other government offices which are relevant to office of the president. So it's a big building which costs 700 shillings average. So because it goes through procurement, it can go through 750, sometimes 800, according to those people who have bid it.
So Haji, how much has been provided in the MTF?
We have only one office. We construct only one. That's why we are appealing to you that can you give us 2.8 billion so that we can construct 4 at least in every part of
Paya or
But
Haji, one.
Madam Chair.
But now we are appealing to the committee that give us 2.8 billion
Madam Chair.
so that we can construct at least 4 in every region per year.
Madam Chair.
Prevail or not. The RDC is the head of security.
Exactly, in each district.
And he chairs a district security committee. That district security committee, the DSO is the secretary of the district security committee. In other words, the right-hand person in the district of the RDC is the DSO. Now, what's wrong with sitting together with them?
Haji, they claim that the RDC and the DSO, much as all of them are in the same environment, but they do different work. And that each one, there are certain things the DSO does.
I know in intelligence there are certain information which they can preserve for themselves and take them to the Director General. But all in whole, the information which they collect, they must share it with the RDC, with the chairperson of the district in terms of security.
I understand the DSOs always do some counter intelligence.
Okay. Now, being the head,
that is okay.
Being the head as office of the president, you're here. The head, and I know that. Okay, let's look at ISO and SO being, because now you're saying the RDC, no, the ISO, the RDC.
Is the head.
I know is the head of the security because it's the one who commands everything when that head of the security. So yesterday when they were here and they also trying to find money to put up buildings, we told them in our districts. I'll always give an example of Chikove district because that's my district.
Where I come from.
The RDC sits with the DSO.
And that's how it has been.
And that's how it has been for as long as I can remember.
So that decision I leave
so for us really to cut down on expenditure, why can't we have one? That's what I was suggesting.
I leave it to the committee to make a decision.
Chair, procedure, Chair.
Honorable, I wouldn't want to go into that because that was another.
Okay.
I leave it to the committee to make a decision.
Chair, the procedural issue I want to raise is, since all the entities appear before this committee, why don't we call these entities and harmonize with them together? That is the same level of building in every district. RDC alone cannot utilize all those offices built for him. Why don't we spare some resources to do other things and accommodate all this together?